You love someone deeply, and yet, silence has grown between you. Not the peaceful kind, the kind that aches. You reach out and somehow it makes things worse. Those well-meaning words, just let it go, move on, they don't touch the real hurt, do they? The Buddha understood this pain with remarkable clarity 2,500 years ago. He saw something most of us miss entirely, that the deeper the love, the sharper the wound can feel. Today's teaching holds the answer to that quiet, persistent ache, the one you carry into every room. The night had grown deep over the garden of Jetavana. A breeze moved quietly through the trees. Torchlight flickered, and the faces of the disciples floated in and out of shadow. No one spoke. Only the distant sound of insects filled the air. The disciples sitting near the Buddha that evening each carried something inside them. Some had words they wanted to say. Some had questions they hadn't yet found the courage to ask. And yet no one opened their mouth. Silence filled the space between them. Not heavy, not empty, just still. The Buddha sat with his eyes gently closed, breathing slowly, steadily, simply there. After some time, a young monk named Sona shifted slightly, his knee aching from the long sit, and in that small movement, felt suddenly embarrassed, as though he had dropped something fragile on a stone floor. But the Buddha did not open his eyes. The night held them all the same. There is an ancient scripture called the Sutta Nipata. Within it lives a passage known as the Metta Sutta, the teaching on loving kindness. It begins with these words: "One who has mastered the good and seeks the path of peace should be this way. Capable, upright, easy to speak to, gentle, not proud." These were practical instructions for the disciples. But today, I want to bring you to the words that follow. The Buddha said, "As a mother protects her only child, even at the cost of her own life, so should you turn that boundless heart toward every living being." One night, a young disciple came and sat near the Buddha. His name was Nandaka. He had only recently entered the life of practice, and his heart was still full of uncertainty. For a long moment, Nandaka sat with his head bowed, saying nothing. The Buddha did not speak. He simply remained. Finally, Nandaka found his voice. "Teacher, I have hurt a dear friend. One night I spoke from anger, words I should never have said. Those words are still living inside my head. My friend has gone. I don't know what to do." The Buddha did not answer right away. A long silence followed. For Nandaka, that silence was painful. He wanted an answer. He wanted words. He wanted someone to say, "In a situation like this, here is what you should do." But the Buddha remained still, watching Nandaka quietly. At last, the Buddha spoke, gently, "Tell me, what is it that hurts you right now?" Nandaka was confused. "What hurts me is that the words I spoke cannot be taken back." The Buddha was quiet again for a moment. "And if you could take them back, what is it you would want to become?" Nandaka had no answer. He wanted to apologize to his friend. He wanted to be forgiven. But was it truly for his friend's sake, or was it because he himself needed to feel lighter? Even he didn't know anymore. As if seeing through that confusion, the Buddha continued, "There is a passage in the Metta Sutta that says, whether standing, walking, sitting or lying down, for as long as one is awake, let one practice this mindfulness of loving kindness without wavering." Nandaka couldn't immediately understand what the Buddha was pointing to. "Teacher, how does that connect to apologizing to my friend?" The Buddha spoke slowly, offering words of apology and truly caring for someone. These are not the same thing. Look closely at what is living in your heart right now. Is your friend's well-being truly there? Or is the desire to free yourself from your own pain? Is that what comes first? Nandaka felt something strike him deep in the chest. The Buddha said nothing more. He closed his eyes gently and simply sat there, present. That night, Nandaka sat on a stone in the garden for hours. The Buddha's question kept turning and turning inside him. Did he want to apologize, truly for his friend, or because he himself wanted relief? As he sat with that question, something began to open. He realized that what he had been looking for wasn't an answer. Maybe it was to have someone listen and tell him, "It's all right." The Buddha's silence had quietly cleared a path toward that scene. The Metta Sutta closes with these words: "Whatever merit exists in this world or beyond, none of it is worth even 1/16th of a fully awakened heart." Something moves in a place deeper than words. Perhaps that is what this scripture has always been trying to tell us. Even now there are moments when a candle burns in a quiet room, and the one sitting beside it is not praying, not thinking, only watching the flame. Without knowing it, that person has already begun. So what is this loving kindness that the Metta Sutta speaks of? Many people believe loving kindness means offering kind words. Words of encouragement, words of empathy, warm expressions of care. That kindness is built from language. But the Buddha's teaching doesn't stop there. What the Metta Sutta returns to again and again is not the words. It's the direction of the heart that exists before any words are spoken. Return for a moment to the image of the mother protecting her only child. A mother does not protect her child by saying the right things. Even while the child sleeps, even when the child cannot speak, she simply receives the whole of that small existence, steadily, quietly. That is what it means to protect. This is the heart of what we might call the wisdom of silence. Silence is not the absence of communication, it is the choice not to fill a space with words, so that something inside the other person has room to move. That is what Buddhism calls the compassion of silence. So why is this silence so difficult for us? Let's look for a moment at the shape of our suffering. Many people exhaust themselves in relationships by speaking too much. There's a feeling that something must be said, that a misunderstanding must be explained before it takes root, that without words something will break. That urgency keeps producing more words, one after another. But the pain isn't really about having too many words. It comes from a belief that silence will damage the relationship, that staying quiet means nothing is being communicated. Silence becomes frightening. And underneath that fear, deeper still is this: my existence has to be proven through words, or it will disappear. This is the structure that creates suffering. Silence itself isn't painful. What's painful is the condition we've placed on it, the belief that being quiet means losing something. Let's also look at this from another angle. We carry an assumption that our words can move another person's heart, that if we choose the right language, misunderstandings can be resolved, that with the right explanation, relationships can be repaired. Somewhere inside we believe this. But is it really true? The moment a word leaves us, it is no longer ours. How it is received we cannot control. And sometimes the more words we add, the further away the other person moves. Some of us have experienced this. The more we apologized, the more the other person pulled back. This is why the Metta Sutta repeats, whether standing, walking, sitting, or lying down. Because loving kindness is not a form of action. It is the direction of the heart. Not only when words are being spoken, but when they are not. Whether that orientation is present, that is what is being asked. The wisdom of silence is not a recommendation to say nothing. It is the recognition that without words, something can still arrive. And that recognition quietly frees us from our over-reliance on language. A monk once sat beside a grieving student for an entire afternoon, and never spoke a single word. When the student finally rose to leave, he turned and said, "That was the first time in months I felt I wasn't alone." The monk had offered nothing. No teaching, no comfort, no explanation. Only his steady, unhurried presence. What arrived between them was not carried by language. So how does this wisdom of silence show up in the texture of everyday life? Let me paint a few pictures. First, a scene from work. A colleague is stuck. Their face is drawn, their sighs heavy. A manager walks by. What do? Most of the time we move quickly toward advice. Have you tried this? What about that approach? Try not to take it so hard. We layer on words, but what the other person actually needs most of the time isn't advice. It's somewhere to set down the weight. A moment where it feels okay to be the person who isn't managing well. Permission to be imperfect, right here, right now. If the wisdom of silence has any form, it looks like this. Choosing not to rush in and fill the space with words. If someone seems like they want to talk, just being nearby. Letting your eyes say, "I'm here." Showing up with your presence rather than your voice. Sometimes that alone is enough to make something move in the other person. Now, a scene at home. Conversations with a teenager have gone dry. You speak, but nothing comes back. You can't tell what's going on inside them. As a parent, there's an urgency. You feel you have to keep reaching out, so you keep saying things, but the more you say, the quieter they become. Here, let's gently question one assumption. Is it really true that no reply equals growing distance? Words are only one exit for what's inside us. When someone isn't speaking, they are often processing something internally. And when we insert words into that processing time, the processing can stop. When a child is silent and a parent allows themselves to also be silent, the child can sometimes feel, this place is safe. The absence of words can actually create safety. Quiet presence can be the very thing that holds the relationship together. To borrow from the Metta Sutta, before an awakened heart, even all the merit in the world is worth only a 16th. The direction of the heart surpasses by far the volume of words. And one more scene with a close friend. Your friend is deep in grief, maybe a heartbreak, a failure at work, the loss of someone they loved. What do we do in those moments? Usually we feel we have to say something. Time will heal this. This will make you stronger. I know you'll be okay. We offer words, and sometimes those words come not only for the other person, but because we can't bear the discomfort of sitting in silence ourselves. Here too is the structure of suffering. Somewhere inside, we cannot allow ourselves to be the person who says nothing in front of someone in pain. The urgency to do something pushes the words out faster than they should come. But what someone in grief sometimes needs most is simply the sound of another person breathing beside them. Not words, just the fact of being present. The truth that someone is there. When another person's pain lands in the same place inside you where you have felt pain, kindness begins to move on its own. Words come after that. When we reach for words first, we begin processing before we have truly felt anything. Silence is not neglect. Sometimes the most profound way to be with someone is to say nothing at all. There is a story of a Zen master who sat for 3 hours beside a grieving student without speaking a single word. Afterward, the student said it was the first time in months he had felt held. The master had not solved anything, had not explained anything. He had simply refused to abandon the other person to the noise of consolation. So if there were just one small thing to try, starting today, the practice of the Metta Sutta has been passed down as metta meditation, loving kindness practice. It isn't complicated. You sit, close your eyes, bring someone's face gently to mind, and quietly, inside yourself, repeat, "May this person be at peace." No need to say it out loud, no need to tell anyone. Simply turn those words, wordlessly toward them, inside your own heart. This is the doorway into the practice the Metta Sutta describes. If there's someone in your life right now who has been weighing on you, bring their face to mind. It could be someone you're angry with, someone you haven't been able to apologize to, a friend who has grown distant. Close your eyes, let their face simply be there, and then without making a sound, say it inside yourself, "May you be at peace." That's all. You don't have to go and tell them. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to try to fix anything. Just quietly, inside yourself, wish them well. When you try this, something may shift, or nothing may seem to change at all. There's no promise that your relationship with that person will improve tomorrow, but something in the way you are facing them, your inner orientation toward them, may look a little different. The Buddha's disciples practice this every day. As the scripture says, whether standing, walking, sitting, or lying down, no special place or time is needed. On a train, while washing dishes, whenever someone comes to mind, simply turn toward them and wish them peace. Not saying it doesn't mean it doesn't reach. In the silence of not saying, something may arrive anyway. That possibility is worth holding. Just once tonight, let yourself try. A mother who has been estranged from her son for 3 years once said that she began this practice not with hope, but simply because she had run out of other things to do. She didn't call him, she didn't write a letter, she just sat at her kitchen table one evening, let his face come and said it, silently, to no one. She told me later that she had not expected anything, but something in her shoulders, she said, had let go. When was the last time you were truly present with someone? Not with words, but simply by being there. You didn't offer advice, you didn't say anything to make it better. You just stayed close. If something was quietly moving in that space, what do you think it was? There's no need to find the answer quickly. Just let it sit with you for a little while. A monk once said that the most sacred texts he ever encountered were not written on paper, but on the faces of people who finally felt seen. He kept no record of their names, only the silence they shared. The wisdom of silence begins with the ability to truly listen, and we explored that practice in an earlier teaching on what it means to become a deep listener in our relationships. You'll find that episode linked in the description below. Today we explored the wisdom of silence. Words matter deeply. Without them, we could never reach each other the way we do. The Buddha himself used words to share his teachings with those who came to him. The Metta Sutta exists because of words, and yet, what the Metta Sutta points to at the end is not the power of language. It is the depth of where the heart is turned. When we are not speaking, something is being built inside us. The time spent holding someone in mind, the quiet movement of wishing them well. None of it is visible to the other person. None of it can be heard, but it is there. Silence is not emptiness. Some of the deepest things find their home in the places where no words live. If you've been feeling worn down by relationships, if you've hit a wall trying to express something, I hope today's words offered you a little room to breathe. If after listening you bring one person to mind tonight and wish them peace without saying a word aloud, then inside that silence, the loving kindness the Metta Sutta spoke of is already there. Thank you so much for being here with me today. A monk once said that his most important prayer was the one he never spoke, just a face held in his heart each morning before rising. No one knew, no one needed to. That too is the practice. May today's words quietly take root within you. One story a day. In a week your words will change. In a month your eyes will change. In a year, the same world will look completely different.